2026 is the year of disclosure. If you know anything about alien abduction.
A little bit. Daryl Anka, a man who channels an extraterrestrial hybrid named Bashar. Millions of people have been following Bashar's advice about how to save humanity and how to change our lives.
He's not discussing anything that hasn't been discussed by someone else before him and hasn't been discussed to death by other philosophers and such. Like, this stuff goes back to ancient Greece was discussing things like this too. So this is not new ideas. Hello everyone, my name is Floria. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. So this is again one of our little dip dive videos where we're gonna sort of dip into something mainly psychic related, just to kind of have a little small video in between the longer videos. I've been filming a few of these, so I'm hoping to kind of do like a little video once a week in between everything, and this will just kind of keep your interest in the psychic stuff too, because I know everyone loves the psychic stuff on my channel. I just don't have time to do a psychic video every single week because it's a lot of work to do deep dive one. So I thought maybe we would just touch on some of the psychics that are on my to-do list. All right, so that being said, this video today, we're going to actually be looking at someone else's video. I find it concerning. So yeah, let's take a look at this together. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, this is the Mayim. Oh my God, I can never say her name. Let me look up the pronunciation. Mayim Bialik is what Google says. Is that correct?
Mayim Bialik.
Her name, I've always had trouble with it. She played Blossom on an old sitcom. Was it 90s? I feel like it was 90s. Maybe it was 80s. But she played Blossom. And then some people younger might know her from the Big Bang Theory. She is the one who she played Sheldon's wife. So in real life, she actually is a doctor, or has a doctorate, not an MD doctor, but she has a doctorate. So this is her here. You guys might be familiar with her character on her different shows. And she has I think it's neuroscience. Hold on, let me look up her doctorate. Yeah, so she has a neuroscientist doctorate, UCLA in 2007, concentrated on hypothalamic regulation, obsessive compulsive disorder in adolescents. So, okay, she is a good example of smart people can be dumb too. I know I've mentioned this before, but smart people can definitely be dumb. So she has done a lot of stuff. She's very smart. Okay, you can take a look at her Wikipedia. But you guys know Bashar. So Bashar is a weirdo who says that he channels an alien that's up above us, like nearby, or I think in our orbit.
Oh, let us say good day to you this day of your time. How are you? Thank you. Please, by all means, you may proceed however you wish, but allow us to thank you for the co-creation of this opportunity to exchange ideas and information with you.
Wow. The alien is apparently a radio DJ from the 90s, and that seems to be the voice he's using. And I'll tell you this, I believe him. I believe him. I believe that this is real. I choose to believe. In fact, I would seriously question the judgment and integrity, frankly, of anyone who is not persuaded by that clip. What more do you need? A lot of you doubting Thomases say that you don't believe in aliens because you haven't seen them. Well, here you go. Now you have it. Now you've seen it. Now you've seen it for yourself. And let's be honest. Let's be really honest about it. This footage is absolutely decisive. How else do you explain what you just witnessed? Like, we saw the guy, he was talking normally. We would agree on that, right? He's talking normally. Just a normal guy going about his everyday life, you would think. And then suddenly, he's twitching in a way that is it's a very alien kind of, like the twitches when he turns into the alien, it's a very alien. Like if I saw him twitching like that without any context, I would say, oh, he must be channeling an alien, because it's a very extraterrestrial-esque twitch. And then he starts talking like a cartoon character, which that part was a surprise, I'll admit. But it's how else do you explain? It's unexplainable. There's no earthly explanation. Occam's razor is a basic, principle of logic, and basically the simplest explanation is the best normally. And the simplest explanation here is that this guy is channeling an extraterrestrial being from the future. That's the simplest way to explain it. There are other ways that get a lot more complicated. For example, you could say, oh, he's just making it up. He's pretending. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if we want to get really outlandish, we could start talking about that. But I think it's the simplest way is that it's real. So I'm convinced. And you know what? I'm relieved. I'm relieved that the aliens are apparently so friendly. Almost too friendly, honestly. A little annoying even. I can't imagine being conquered by aliens who talk like that. We never considered that possibility, because in fantasy, sci-fi scenarios, the aliens that take over the world are always these monstrous, hideous, scary aliens, and we never thought that we would be invaded by intergalactic dorks.
Said alien is named Bashar, I believe it is. The said alien, he channels him, and then the alien gives him prophecies and tells him things about the future and a bunch of other bull crap. He's clearly fake, but she's got him on her show. So I kind of wanted to look at this together, because people follow her because she's smart and she's been on TV, and they're like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. So she gives a platform to someone like this, and it just further tries to legitimize them when they're not real. This guy is a con artist. Yes, in my opinion, prove that you're actually an alien. Come on, dude. Or channeling an alien, whatever. Yeah, his name is Daryl Anka. He's the channel for Bashar, a multi-dimensional physical extraterrestrial hybrid being from parallel reality. And what he's revealing now may change everything. Is humanity heading for a massive reset? Dude has been saying this since he started doing this channeling in like the 80s or something. Like, this guy's been doing this for forever. It's the whole time. It's always been like, oh, end of the world, blah, 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 blah. He breaks down a shocking story of how Daryl first became channeling, what it felt like. How does she... Okay, so like my issue with this video is just she's legitimizing this BS. And this actually is fairly recent. So this is March 2026. I just happened to see this. Actually, I didn't even look at her channel. Let me look at her channel. How much other BS has she been legitimizing? Is this like another dude? Spirit guides? Oh, okay. So she's just gone full she's just gone totally... What? So she's just like platforming psychics and stupid crap at this point. Oh my God. What is wrong with these people? She's incredibly intelligent, but she thinks that this is real? Your intuition. Although I never really agreed with her thing. She did write a book on like helicopter parenting essentially, and that it was a good thing. And it's like, it's not. But she was trying to legitimize helicopter parenting. Near-death experience, dude. Aliens. Rejection sensitivity. Okay, this is actually within her wheelhouse. Okay, like that's actually science. That guy is like an actual scientist, this dude here. Your organs speak. Scientists discovered the language and it cures cancer without chemo. Oh, that's always a good thing to encourage. What is wrong with these people right now? Why wounded healers turn pain into superpower. Oh my God. I was a level 5 Scientologist and I found out what Scientology and Nazi. Okay, so she's just interviewing this guy. I mean, that probably is accurate. How you ignoring your soul's messages. Yale psychiatrist on angels, intuition, and the higher self. How do you get a doctorate in psychiatry and then believe in that stuff? I don't understand. She is platforming a lot of crazy people. This is insane. Jesus. When she first like got her doctorate and she wrote her book and stuff on the helicopter parenting, and I read some of her papers and stuff, like some things that she was writing, I'm like, this doesn't sound like a smart idea. Okay, neuroscience is the science of the brain, but it's not psychology. And she was kind of giving like psychology advice, and in my opinion, it was bad advice for how to raise your kids and stuff. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. That's going to cause problems in these kids later in life. And I thought, wow, I'm surprised that she's like so oblivious to this, but maybe it's because she's a child star, because she grew up like on TV sets. So she didn't have a normal life growing up. So maybe she doesn't know. And now we're here. So yeah. So smart people can be really stupid. And this is a good example. This is ridiculous. I didn't realize that she has gone totally like wackadoo. Oh my gosh. Supernatural abilities. There's like a bunch of psychics there. So she's, yeah. CIA spy. Oh, this guy, wasn't he exposed? Oh, this guy was exposed for being a faker. That he's not actually, he was never CIA. He was never a spy. And he made all this content. I don't know for sure. Someone was telling me this the other day, that they heard that he was exposed for not really being a CIA spy. He has no experience in this, and that he just lied about him. So I don't know if it's true or not, but I always thought when I listened to him, I thought that I heard an episode where he was talking about essentially it sounded like he was the IT department for the CIA. That doesn't make you a spy. That just makes you someone who worked in IT. And I could have sworn that it was something like that. And I thought at the time, like, is he a spy? Because it kind of just sounds like he worked in IT. So that's interesting. It's like everyone talking lately, oh, Oprah platformed this person or platformed this person. But now we have this stuff going on. These people, famous people on TV, they have their own YouTube and they're platforming all these other crazy people. What the heck? All right. So in general, her channel is wackadoo. Okay, let's watch a little bit of it, because what I actually wanted to do is I was trying to kind of like do a dip dive on Bashar, and then I came across this and I'm like, oh Lord. So we have a problem here with the Blossom, or what's her name? Amy on Big Bang Theory, because I can never pronounce this name. Mayim Bialik.
Mayim Bialik.
And Bashar. Let's watch a little bit of it and see if there's anything interesting that we can comment on. This is very long. I don't want to go that long. I want to see if I can just sort of touch on some aspects of it and then see your guys' comments. I kind of want to see your guys' feedback. I want to see what you guys have to say about it. I know a lot of people have asked for a deep dive on Bashar. Like, honestly, I mean, I can, but it's just kind of like, I don't really know what else to say. Like, do people not realize he's fake? Like, I don't understand how people think that this is real. And that's why I haven't really done a deep dive on him. I'd rather just kind of dip on him maybe and like do some reactionary content. But I don't know. There might be something there to deep dive on. Let me know what you guys think too in the comments as we take a look at this together.
2026 is the year of disclosure. If you know anything about alien abduction,
A little bit.
I had 2 very close broad daylight UFO sightings here over Los Angeles. It's just before dusk, and I'm seeing this black equilateral triangular craft, and I'm looking at this thing gliding across the valley like it was moving on a sheet of glass.
It was hovering.
And then it just shot up in the blink of an eye into the clouds, and it was gone. Once you see something like that close physically, it changes everything. I understood that the UFO had been shown to me on purpose. The world is not what I was told.
Daryl Anka, a man who channels an extraterrestrial hybrid named Bashar. Millions of people have been following Bashar's advice about how to save humanity and how to change our lives.
The entity stopped talking to the class and turned right to me and said, there's an entity here for you right now if you're ready to begin.
Where does he live? Do we know?
He's an extraterrestrial physical entity about 500 light years in the direction of the Orion constellation in parallel reality. This is a telepathic connection. They had to shift into other parallel realities where human DNA was still viable, like ours, and use that to create hybrids, which means they're genetically connected to us.
Typical hybrid extraterrestrial is not something I ever thought we'd be talking about.
They're noticing we're making the same mistakes.
What are we facing right now? What is coming next?
In 2027, we will be introduced literally to extraterrestrials.
Okay, so number one, his like lore on this alien stuff, genetic, blah, 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 blah. It all traces back to the same stuff that Starseeds traces back to. This all traces back to racism stuff from World War II. And it all traces back to those people that were run by the guy, the little angry man with the mustache, okay? It's very racial biased, and it's not a good idea to get into this kind of stuff, to fall down the conspiracy theory bandwagon too. A lot of it does link back into racism, first off. So, and then number two, he has said this before about humanity. It's time, it's coming, it's ending, it's blah, 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 all the time with this guy. Every year it's the same BS. Also, her reactions to this as like a scientist, she is a scientist. She's a trained scientist. This is dumb. Like, how? I don't understand. This is so dumb. Humanity's in trouble. And it's not because of aliens. It's because of this stuff. Because people believe this so much with like, ugh.
Hi, I'm Mayim Bialik.
And I'm Jonathan Cohen.
And welcome to our break. Hi, I'm Mayim Bialik.
Okay, so she pronounces it Mayim Bialik. Mayim Bialik. Try to remember that. It's a very different name, so I have trouble.
The best way I can sum up what we're going to talk about is the following. The aliens are coming. The year 2026 is a year of disclosure, and the year 2027 is one that many people are saying is the year that we will finally make contact with beings from other realities, other planets, other stars, other universes. Our guest today knows this to be true because he receives this information from a being that lives in a parallel reality. And if that sounds incredible, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Since 1984, a man named Daryl Anka, born in Ottawa and raised right here in Woodland Hills, California, has been in...
Sad he's was born Canadian. Okay, so he's been doing this since the 80s. He's been around forever. And it's been the same message since then. And then the other thing with Bashar too is like he makes all these predictions, but his predictions are based off of deducing the environment, human deduction skills. We can all make predictions. There's that. And second off, his predictions often will be vague. So it could happen and you could like make it fit. Like that's how Nostradamus was kind of immortalized or whatever. Nostradamus's predictions were really vague and didn't actually give a specific about something. So you could apply it to many different instances and many different things, right? And that is how these sort of prediction type people function. They try to keep things a little vague. They try to keep things open to multiple things could happen. There's a ton of stuff that people, and they'll probably leave a message or comment below. Oh, Bashar accurately predicted the election. I accurately predicted the election. Like I've been working in politics for like 20 years before all this. I already knew how the US election was going to fall. It's not hard to actually figure out the pattern of humans and just predict these things. We tend to repeat ourselves. Him predicting different, like I'm sure there was probably some natural disasters or this or that. It's really easy to predict that. You can just sort of say that. And he has often repeated the same predictions year after year that never come true. So eventually, since the 80s, he's been doing this. Eventually something's going to come true, right? If he keeps repeating that this is the year, this is the year, this is the year. Like he's talking about this year or next year being like the alien year. I know that he's been saying that for decades now because I've known about him for a long time. And I remember even as a child when I believed in the psychic stuff, I seen him channel and I was like, this is dumb. Like it looks so bad. Maybe actually I need to find you guys a video of him channeling first so you understand. Okay, hold on.
You cannot imagine something that doesn't exist. It's not possible. Were you to have an experience of something non-existent, you wouldn't have a memory of the experience because you would have to be non-existent at the time. But you cannot not exist. If you exist now, existence is the only quality existence has. What little second to you this day of your time? How are you all?
Woo! Woo, here he is.
Okay, anyway, that's general idea of his channeling.
Conversation with what he calls a friend from the future, Bashar. Daryl was in a meditation course where he was learning about the concept of channeling, and all of a sudden he heard a voice and an entity present itself to him. And for 41 years, millions of people have been listening to the conversations that Daryl has with Bashar, an extraterrestrial hybrid entity. We're going to talk to Daryl about how he came to understand channeling. I have to ask you to explain to us a little bit of your origin story because, what I'm trained as a neuroscientist. Jonathan is a writer and a creative, but he has a background in Reiki and energy healing. So, we're this kind of interesting combination.
Her husband, I'm assuming that maybe this is why she's into the woo-woo stuff. No, her husband is this Michael guy.
believe in many things that I cannot see or quantify or understand. And I think what's really kind of refreshing about the way you speak about your own abilities is that you acknowledge that there's not a way to like prove
No, not at all.
What's necessarily happening, but it doesn't mean that the information's not valuable.
Right. The information in itself is the proof, because it actually does make changes in your life. And that's what I want people to focus on anyway, because I don't really know exactly where this is coming from. This is the way it presents itself.
Right.
And I have to go with it because that's the way it comes through. But no one has to believe that Bashar is real.
I want you to explain to us in kind of the simplest terms that you can what you understand about your identity. And then I want you to take us through how you got there.
This is 50 years ago, 1973-ish. And I had two very close broad daylight UFO sightings here over Los Angeles. First time about 150 feet away, and the second time only about 70 feet away, with witnesses with me both times. And, I actually brought some things to help.
We love a visual aid.
Just sort of give you some idea of what's going on.
And how old were you when this happened?
This is in my 20s, about 23 or so.
Did you believe in aliens, UFOs? What kind of person were you when you had this experience?
I've always been a creative. I've always been an artist. I've been drawing ever since I could pick up a pencil. I always heard people talk about, I saw a UFO. I never really gave it much thought. I was very much enjoying things like science fiction and stuff like that, Star Trek and what have you. But no, I never knew or gave any thought to whether that was.
You have to remember, too, at the time that he's talking about here. So he's in his 20s. It's the 70s. Star Trek was pretty popular. It was around the 60s. This is also the time where humanity, we're starting to get into more technology and everything, too. So you have to think of the setting that this person is in. And New Age spiritualism was really starting to take off around this time as well. There's a lot of change and everything happening. So it's very easy for someone like him to just show up on the scene, say that he saw these aliens, say that he's channeling this stuff. There's still like communes and stuff going on. There was a lot of people believing in this stuff very easily and really easy to trick people. And if he's a creative person as is, if he draws, writes, anything like that, then he's good at telling a story and getting people invested, right? So I think he just kind of took advantage of an opportunity of the times that he was in. Yeah.
Own validations like the UFO, dream encounters I've had with him that are not normal dreams, that are just conversations like I'm having with you for an hour in the dream state. But that's not important for anyone to have to believe to get benefit out of the information.
You've studied your brain in the documentary that you did about how it changes when you're with that entity versus when you're not.
No. Go back. Hold on.
The documentary that you did about how it changes when you're.
That is the QEEG. That is the stupid brain doctor that is also scanning the brains of all the psychics too. And he is trying to sell a product. In fact, I believe that he has been put in charge of some health department again in this administration. He pushes supplements and a bunch of BS crap, and his QEEG stuff and all the things that he does there is just not valid. The only benefit of what his program does and what QEEGs do is they can track the repair of a brain injury, but they can't do this. All these stupid brain scans just show that their brain is working harder when they're in their whatever state that they're in, when they're doing psychic readings or whatever. But if you go and scan like a mentalist brain, magician's brain, a comedian's brain, when they are performing, you will see the same thing. There's actually a study done on this where the mentalist brain was scanned, and it was the same thing. And I actually have a video about these brain scans, and I go into the science of it. I talk about that study too. I talk about Tyler Henry's brain scan. Teresa Caputo had a brain scan, and now it looks like we had Bashar had a brain scan. This is the modern day version of the UCLA lab, which used to like certify psychics back in the day until it was shut down because it was BS. And now we have this stupid brain scan clinic that's run by this doctor that runs some department of health blah 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 thing now, of course, with Dr. Oz and whatever. Like any doctor who's been on TV is in charge of your healthcare in the US right now, and they all don't. You don't want them in charge of your healthcare. Okay. Anyway, I will link my video that I did on the brain scans. In fact, I think I had a couple doctors who actually commented on that video who were saying thank you for like actually providing correct information on this and trying to refute this guy who is well known in the medical community as being a total quack, and he just pushes supplements and pushes a bunch of crap to make himself money. Supplements, especially in the States, are very unsafe. Like it's hit a point. I could go down, we will go down a discussion about the supplement industry and how much of a mess it is. But for example, if you follow Milo, Mini Minuteman, the archaeologist buster, he's like the modern day Indiana Jones. So he has a YouTube channel, and he's actually talked about a little bit, he's touched on this a little bit here and there in some of his episodes or some of his videos, where he met someone who her father was obsessed with, I think it was Joe Rogan or whatever. And Joe Rogan, all these podcasts, they all push supplements now. Everyone pushes supplements because it's a cheap way to make money. They just fill the supplements with whatever garbage, and then they charge you like $50 a bottle and send it your way. And people are just desperate for an easy fix or something affordable than the healthcare in the US that people can't afford. So when they can't afford that, then they head down the supplement path and then they get sicker. So this girl, anyways, her father would force her to take these supplements because it came from Joe Rogan. I believe it was Joe Rogan. And she was a teenager or something when he started doing this. And then as she grew, she had all these health problems. And she is like pretty convinced that she believes that these supplements actually caused all these health problems in her. I would love for Milo to actually interview that woman. I would like to interview her, honestly, if she's out there. I don't know who she is. He was just talking about, he ran into her at a conference and they were talking about this stuff. And Milo even talks about like he doesn't have the knowledge in supplements. And I know he likes to have scientists on his show and he likes to link to scientists. I have this knowledge, but I am not a doctor. I am not a scientist. I am someone who grew up in a new age spiritualist household. My mom was a master herbologist and taught me everything about herbs or whatever you want to pronounce it. So I do know about the plants. I understand the base knowledge that they're trying to, originally they were like, okay, well, this plant was used back in whatever 1700s for this. Like plantain is an antibacterial, like you can make an antibacterial, the word just escaped me. It's like a paste and you put it on. Anyway, there's like different plants that do different things. Like dandelion, it helps with the stomach. It helps like ease your stomach pain, things like that. Peppermint helps with stomach as well. Like there's echinacea, helps with your immune system. These are all great and they work up to a point. We never lived past 40 before, 45 back in the day. So these work on younger bodies that are able to bounce back. Number one. Number two, the likelihood that you were actually getting that plant in these pills nowadays is very low. You might be getting a very small amount of it. You need to be able to find a provider that you can trust that's actually giving you the proper plant. And this was a big thing that my mom would teach me too. Is like we would grow a lot of our stuff, or we would go out to these different, they're like these stores. They don't really exist anymore, but they were around back in the day, and you could go and you could get the flower, you could get the dried plant. They would import it in, and we would make our own stuff because at least we can trust that that is for sure the plant. You can see it, you can recognize it, you know what part of the plant it is. Because sometimes too, they put the wrong part of the plant in the supplements. But nowadays, the likelihood that you're getting any plant material, it's pretty low. Like these supplements are filled with a lot of crap, and the majority of them are filled with stuff that actually will thin your blood. So you've got to be super careful, because if you're going for like a surgery or anything like that, this stuff is really important because it could actually kill you, right? If you're taking this crap, you get in a car accident, you could die, you could bleed out because this stuff thins your blood. A lot of them thin your blood. So anyway, my point is, I know a lot about this industry and the supplement crap, and it's tied to these doctors that do these brain scans. And again, this is a side tangent, but I do want to talk more about this stuff, and I will be doing videos on this. But I've also got to be careful with YouTube. They don't like, okay, this isn't medical advice. I'm not a medical doctor. I just have experience in like herbs itself. I have the base knowledge there, and I just know that people are taking advantage of it and turning to these supplements that they're trying to sell people. And as long as they make it sound convincing, then people buy this crap. They take it and it actually hurts their body. They'd be better off just not taking it at all. So yeah, he's got this brain scan. So I guess he has this documentary. I guess if I did a video on him, maybe I could find the documentary and watch it and see if it's worthwhile to talk about him. It's just like, Man, this guy is such a grifter. It's so ridiculous that people believe. And we have a neuroscientist here, sitting here with him, a neuroscientist, neurobiologist, who understands that the QEEGs are not really scientifically accepted as proof of anything, and that there's so many flaws with it. You can't use a QEEG to figure out if someone is psychic, or, all it does is tells you that they're using their brain a lot in this moment, that in this moment what they're doing is performing. So of course they're using their brain more than if you're just sitting there like doing nothing, or just sitting there quietly reading or thinking about random things. Like, of course you're going to be using more of your brain. And this is what I don't understand about this. You have a neuroscientist sitting right there, and she should know. Like, she should see this. I recognize it because I've covered it enough. I recognize the cap, and I recognize that setup and the way he's sitting too. I recognize that room. Like, she should know better. Why is she not saying anything? Of course not. Because she's a total sellout, I guess. I don't understand why she's supporting this crap. I don't know. She should be standing up and actually like telling the truth about things, but it looks like she's just gone total wackadoo.
With that entity versus when you're not with that entity. And I think that's a really important point to talk about that distinction. Can you explain it to us?
You're a neuroscientist. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the reasons why we made the documentary, is to explain how this happened, and also to demystify channeling, because everyone channels. It's called gamma in the brain. That's the channeling state. 40 to 100 cycles per second is gamma. That's the channeling state.
She channels when she organizes.
Everyone channels when they do what they love to do, when you're not paying attention to the passage of time, when you're in the zone. You are in a channeling state. You're in gamma.
Which is the whole thing with these stupid brain scans. He is performing. He is enjoying performing. His brain is accessing a different part of itself. It's also performing higher and got more energy and whatever, like waves and shit going on in the test, and showing you stuff because he's performing. He's not just sitting there doing nothing. He's doing his performance, right? She's just like, I don't even think that she's... I don't know what she's looking at. I don't see her eyes moving. I think it's just pictures. I don't think there's any writing there. But she should recognize a QEEG when she sees one. She's a brain scientist.
And that's what we discovered, is that's where I go when I'm channeling. And certain things happen in the brain during the channeling state.
The set point, and we're talking about a set point. The set point is stable. It's a stable kind of state and rarely fluctuates over the lifespan. When Daryl channels, it changes in minutes.
My basic understanding, as it was explained to me, is at a certain point in your life, the human brain sort of arrives at a level where it starts processing information, and it stays there for the rest of your life, unless you have a head trauma or something that changes
like
it.
During your conscious awake phases.
Yeah, this is the way you process information at this rate of speed, and it stays that way for the rest of your life, and it's not ever supposed to change. But when I channel, it goes up almost immediately. When the entity is talking,
it's important to point out that he literally just said that everyone's brain goes into this state. Now he's saying that your brain doesn't change at a certain point in your life, and it shouldn't go up and down. It's a lot of mumbo jumbo. Always comes out of these QEEG brain scans that are used for entertainment purposes to try to say that someone is psychic or someone is whatever, an alien. The reality is nobody has ever been proven to be actually psychic. So how can you say a brain scan proves something when this thing can't even be proven to be true in the first place? Instead, what you're looking at is a normal brain functioning under a state when it's in a performance. Your brain changes depending on what you're doing. And that's all this QEEG is measuring, is what your brain is doing at this moment. There's a big difference between when you're performing and when you're just sitting around talking or whatever and you're not performing. This is a big difference.
it goes from, my stable resting place is 9 hertz, 9 cycles a second. When the entity is talking, it goes to 10. When the entity is listening, it goes to 11. And what the technician said to her that represented is, he's listening more intently than what he's actually talking about. And when he's listening that intently, it's more of an empathic connection where I'm here.
Or your imagination is going because somebody asked you a question or whatever it might be, and now you're trying to think of an answer. And so your brain's working a little bit harder as you visualize and imagine something to say. I don't understand how she sits there and just, wow.
Everything you're saying on every level, so I can respond to you thoroughly and properly about what you're really asking.
Who is Bashar? Meaning, is he one of many?
Okay, so like no comments about that from the neuroscientists in the room. Right. Is this just about money for her? I guess it's just about money for her. Also, this is like advertisement number. No, there's multiple advertisements in here. Okay. There was one earlier here, and then it looks like there's 2 in one right here.
Their ultimate sampler pack.
Yeah, she's getting paid a lot. She's making a lot of money off this. Okay, then they're going to see aliens in 2027, blah, blah, blah. In the 80s, he was saying that we were going to see aliens too. I remember this. Earth is a tough school.
Reasons for being. Souls that incarnate on Earth are like going through a master graduating class of learning to transform negative to positive, darkness to light, limitation to freedom.
This is starseed nonsense. It's actually very racist, and a lot of it is based on anti-Semitic stuff. And this, I'm surprised that she's even like covering this. I don't understand how she doesn't know about this, because she's always, back in the day, she was always very knowledgeable in the history about this stuff, about World War II and everything. And she was very much like, what's the word? Like she would speak up and stuff a lot. Like she actually, like, I don't know. I just feel like she's like, not. She's dumb now. She used to be smarter.
But a soul can come in saying, I'm going to cause a lot of chaos in this life, because if I cause enough, maybe humanity will finally say enough and really learn the lesson and figure out how to not have that happen again.
Oh, you mean good chaos or bad chaos?
Bad chaos. It's a yin and a yang kind of situation where you can use the negative. One of the things, I mean, the woman that runs Bashar Communications, who is the official distributor of the information, also is very familiar with different forms of psychology. To her, Bashar is a new level of psychology in terms of how he phrases things and how he says things work in the human brain and in our, whatever we want to call that, our makeup.
Just a little side quest here. Apologies if my mic audio is a little bit off, dealing with the situation with it. Here's his website. So if you go to Bashar TV, he's making money off that. He's charging you for that. So I guess this is his whole Bashar TV and his live streams. Join. And there's that price there. And then you can buy apparel, books, crystals, essentials. You get the idea. He does this for money, you guys.
We have this science fiction notion that an alien should be able to answer any question we ask them. That's not necessarily true.
Why the hell would an alien be able to answer any question you have? Like that's ridiculous thinking. Who would think that?
Specific function, like I said, he's a first contact specialist. He's not a physicist. He's not something else. He has a basic knowledge of what we might consider to be some more advanced ideas about physics, because for them, that's the level that...
he's trying to explain away why he can't answer questions about spacecraft and space travel because he doesn't have that knowledge and he can't properly describe it. Okay, so this is his excuses. Okay.
And that's what drags you down.
People think that they're making these decisions consciously and on purpose, but really they're being propelled to do it in a way that isn't serving them.
Quite often, because again, we have all sorts of things we pick up on, body language, telepathically from our parents, our society, our schooling, our friends, that we absorb because we think we have to in order to survive, in order to get along, in order to belong. And later on, we don't realize that all of those things are now shoved into our unconscious mind, and we're sort of acting on this robotic programming where we think we're doing the right thing, and we're constantly doing things that might work for other people but don't work for us.
Okay, so he's incorporating a lot of the theories around the singularity and humankind actually striving and doing better because we aren't required to work in order to survive. Okay, now first thing with humankind is survival. And unfortunately, we are trapped in a capitalist society, and we have been trapped by money. It's not really like the issue is the billionaires in the world, to be honest. And until people feel comfortable standing up to them all, we're stuck where we are. So we got to do what we got to do. Now, there's a theory of the singularity that's coming, and technically we have the technology and we have the setup that we could reach the singularity right now, but we're not going to, because capitalism needs us to stay where we are, desperate for money, trying to pay our bills, and like just trying to survive. We're still in survival mode, and we're going to be stuck in survival mode. And no matter what alien or whoever comes here, like this isn't going to fix anything, because the people that run the world keep us in this mode. So, and this thing, he's talking about all this stuff. This is theories that other people have already been discussing. This is stuff that's been talked to death about. And yeah, like the singularity was already supposed to have come around this time. And technically with AI and everything that was created. It was supposed to come, but all it's done now is gotten rid of people's jobs, and now people are even more in trouble because there's no universal income. There's no way to protect people that they can actually explore ideas and, kind of go down paths of the creative or whatever things that interest them and actually do something that they like, right? Like most people don't like to work. Like work is hard, even if you are working in a position or a job or whatever role that you really enjoy, and it's great, but it's still hard at times, right? And this is the whole thing. So survival always comes first with humanity. Any lofty goals or wants or needs or ideals or whatever, that's on top of survival. And we only get to that point when we feel like we are safe to actually explore these things, right? So anyway, point is, he's not discussing anything that hasn't been discussed by someone else before him and hasn't been discussed to death by other philosophers and such. Like this stuff goes back to ancient Greece was discussing things like this too. So this is not new ideas. These spiritualists, these people that see the future, whatever, because I have years of experience. My whole life I grew up in this crap. All that they do is regurgitate stuff that some other spiritualist or philosopher, blah, 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 said before them. Like that's all people do. And this is nothing new. It's nothing original. It's nothing that is secret or being told to them by some alien. This stuff has been said for eons now by humankind. Okay.
If everyone has that, where is the interaction that we're having right now?
By agreement, by telepathic agreement, vibrational agreement.
So he has a little seed and I have a seed.
You are a seed.
I'm sorry, I am a seed.
And each of our souls has come down
Right.
in a pause. This is all happening in a pause.
But our souls are still in contact with one
Correct.
another non-physically.
But in this plane, we have a table here,
Yes.
and this is a book,
Yes.
and this is a computer,
Yes.
and we have a conscious experience of being here.
Yes, but all of these are the props that we're creating in our consciousness.
So is there a simulation component of your understanding and
yes,
Bashar's
but it's our
understanding?
simulation, not someone else's.
Right.
It's our simulation for our purposes, for experiencing certain things, learning certain lessons that help our souls grow in the way we chose to for this life.
And by the way, us being in a simulation, this has been disproven by science, by the way. So this is just a bunch of BS. Dreams, astral projection, that's a bunch of BS. Raising vibration. Oh my God, this is like the new keyword of like the 2020s or whatever, is like raise your vibration. This is like the new hip word to say that I'm more psychic or I'm more in tune or I'm more whatever. And I'm at a better place now and I'm more powerful, and this vibration crap is just like ridiculous. This is the new buzzword. There's other words that can be used to say the same thing as this, but just vibration is like the new it word that I've noticed all the influencers and fake psychics and whatever are saying. Selena Spookaboo says it a lot. She talks about her vibration. It's a raising vibration, blah, blah, blah. Spontaneous healing. Oh, that's always good to encourage is healing, probably by your mind, of course, because that's what these people do. And like, don't get me wrong, you can heal parts of your body in a sense through mind over matter, but it's not like you can't heal cancer and stuff. Like my doctors, when I have like a lot of mental illness stuff. It runs my family too. When I was dealing with that, they told me read this book, and it was something about healing your body with your mind. And it was about more trying to get a handle on mental illness or things. Cause like, okay, I have really bad anxiety, but I also have an ulcer, and then I have like skin breakouts and things. My anxiety is causing those things. So the book was kind of talking about like what things are going on in your mind that could be causing some other weird offshoot thing that could be resolved if you get a handle on your anxiety or your depression or whatever else might be. This isn't healing big issues. This is just sort of like getting a handle on your total self so you're a little bit more calm, whatever, so your body's in a better position. So if you are sick with something, then you'll heal better from it or whatever it might be. That stuff I get. Like that, I get that that's real. But telling people that they can heal like cancer and stuff with their mind is crazy talk, and nobody should be encouraging this. Nobody should be promoting this. Like it's very dangerous talk.
Understanding what true intelligence is.
I mean, all my fears are based on lack of understanding what true intelligence is.
Well, exactly, because from Bashar's perspective, true intelligence operates on whole systems. It would never do anything to eliminate any part of the system to which it belongs, because
Right.
it would be damaging itself.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. And I like this sort of operational view. There's probably so much more to gain in that operational view, but if I shift to a couple of the practical questions. What's involved in spontaneous healing?
What's involved in spontaneous healing is first to understand that a healer never heals anyone directly. A healer puts out a vibrational frequency that represents the healed state. If the person requiring the healing decides that they're going to match that frequency, they will heal themselves.
This is, I think, one of the most simple explanations I've heard.
Let's just say in the Bible, Jesus never healed anyone. He said, your faith has healed you. Your belief has healed you.
I want to repeat it, though.
That's why.
The notion is that a
healer puts out a vibration that represents the healed state. The person requiring the healing has to agree to mirror that state within themselves, thereby healing themselves.
And we all know how to do that. We all can recognize this frequency and match it.
The only reason it wouldn't happen is if there is another lesson to learn by maintaining the disease. Not only the lesson may be for the person, but sometimes the soul will choose to have that experience for what other people around that person will learn.
And if they're struggling, can they get out of that contract by saying, I no longer want to
Just
participate
kidding,
in that?
I get it.
If it was part of the life path choice, yes. If it wasn't, no.
How do you know if it's part of that choice? Can you muscle test? How do you figure it out?
Okay, and then stuff he's saying here right now too, this is all spiritual crap from reincarnation theories. It goes way back. I mean, I think they even talk about it in what is it? Is it Buddhism? Am I remembering correctly? Where you get reincarnated based on what you did in your life. You either get rewarded in the next life or punished in the next life kind of deal. And then people built upon that. And then they created this idea. This has been around forever. Different spiritualists, psychics, whatever, people like Bashar have said the same thing, right? Is that you chose this life path for you. You chose this body of wanting to struggle, wanting to be poor, wanting to experience this, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, but there's a reason they call us the 99% and then the 1%, right? I don't think that we choose this. I don't think that it's a special choice that people get. It's very rare that people actually get a blessed life. Extremely rare. So anyway, he's just reiterating stuff that other people have said before him. This stuff was said by other spiritual gurus and blah, blah, blah before him. This is where it's none of this is original. This isn't coming from him or some alien. He is taking other people's ideas and applying it to his alien BS and then selling it as a package. Yeah, that's what all these people do. Sylvia Browne did the same thing too. Her spiritualist stuff in her church and all that other crap that she would sell, it's all based on other practices from decades, eons, whatever before her.
To leave. So that's why we have a lot of near-death experiences, or a lot of things that people go, I should have died. Why didn't I die? Or people attempting to that don't succeed. The birth angel says, not your time.
So how much interference
depends on the level of what you're doing to yourself.
Okay, so now there's angels. What happened to the simulation and the aliens? Do people not realize the flaw in his logic here? And now he's saying addiction is keeping us trapped. Of course. Yeah, of course. Not everyone's an addict. It's actually very rare. So anyway, I think that this is the end of this video. Let's kind of wrap this up a little bit. Yeah. I'm going to stop the Bashar video there. I find it really crappy. I don't like to see people like her support this stuff. One, she has a neuroscience degree, right? So that's supposed to give her some level of authority as a scientist. And then two, she's also an actor. She's on The Big Bang Theory, which gives her some more clout as well for this kind of stuff. And to be supporting these whack jobs is just, and he's not the only one. If we looked at her page, right? There's other psychics and other people that she's also backing and giving a platform to. So it's just the new Oprah version of the new Oprah, right? Is these whatever people with a bit of authority go and start a YouTube or a podcast. Well, it is a podcast, whether it's on YouTube or wherever else. All these people start podcasts and then they create this misinformation train that we're all on. And I mean, I discussed it too in the Cult of Personality video, which you can go check out, where we actually talked about Teal Swan, because she's another person that tries to give advice on mental health and other healing crap. That's her advice is around spiritual stuff too. And then we talked about Andrew Tate, the same thing. They have these podcasts, these views, whatever. They build up this online personality or persona. People end up attaching themselves to it, and it goes badly because people take their word as gospel. And this is very unhealthy, not good. not good. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd like to hear you guys' feedback and thoughts on this. And Bashar, like, I don't know. I mean, I could try to do a full, I don't really know how I would kind of do a full video on him. It would be like a lot of work. I would love to get like a list of all of his predictions since like the 80s, since he showed up. Because I know that he's predicted a bunch of stuff, but it's hard to find everything that he predicted that didn't come true. Because, you know, they always hang on to the stuff that did come true. But like when he does predictions, he rarely predicts exact details. So anyone who's like, oh, he predicted this exact thing, he didn't. He would have predicted something vague and people took it as that. It's just like a modern day Nostradamus BS. Well, in the video here, definitely if you can like, comment, share, commenting and sharing really helps the most of the video. And if you can hype it as well, that helps as well grow the channel and put the video out there. But yeah, and I'd like to end by thanking the patrons and members too. Your guys' support means everything as always. And definitely I'll check you guys out in the next big video, or probably like a long form video and then another one of these little ones. And we'll kind of take it from there and see how it goes. All right. Have a good night, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.